Hello, Plant Life people. How are you? I see that the chat is already super active, and I see that everyone saying that my dad should come as a guest star, and I absolutely agree. So maybe next week, you have to stay tuned for that. We'll see. He actually comes up with some of the ideas I've asked him for what to make, so I think he'd be an awesome guest. And now he's giving me guff for being 1 minute late. Anyway, we are here, we're live, we're gonna make delicious, easy, cheap vegan food. And today I have a really awesome recipe for you that I'm super excited about, which I say every time, but it's awesome. And we're cooking again today with jackfruit. So jackfruit, I love jackfruit. I don't think to cook with it a lot, so I really wanted to make this today. And so with jackfruit, I don't know the history of jackfruit, but I know it's from Asian countries and it's very common also in Indian cooking. But it's basically a fruit that you want to make sure when you're cooking savory stuff that you get it young green stuff in brine. So this is also sold as a sweet, and then when it's ripe, it's like a yellowy orange color. You don't want to cook a savory meal with that, so make sure you get this. And you can get this really cheap. A lot of grocery stores have it now, but the most common and cheapest place to get it is your Asian grocery store, and it's about $3 a can, but it gives you a lot. So I've made two of this recipe so far with the jackfruit. So we are going to go ahead and get started. So for this recipe, I already have it going. You'll see here, just down here, I have some onion, celery, carrot, and garlic. So onion, celery, and carrot is called a mirepoix, and it's a good starter for a lot of recipes, and it's going to give us a lot of flavor. It's getting a bit overcooked for my demo, so please don't make fun of me in the comments about that. I wanted to make sure it was cooked up. So when you do your jackfruit, you're going to shred it into little pieces. So that usually comes like this in these little triangles. And you want to rinse it out really well because the brine is kind of salty. So you want to make sure you rinse it out and then you shred it. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So this is the jackfruit piece, and it has this hard bit down here. So you want to cut that off. So I'm just going to put it over here. And it sometimes has these seed things, so you want to cut those out. You actually don't need to cut them, you just scoop them out, and then there you go. And then I'll show you down here. You can just shred it like that. So once you have your onions translucent, and this is getting a little brown in my pan, so again, no judgment, but you do want to let it get quite brown on the bottom because you want to deglaze that and get that flavor in there. Don't let it burn kind of like I did, but you want to get it going. So now we're going to add our jackfruit. And I'm using a non-stick pan. If you need to use oil in your pan, use very little, but you want to have like virtually no liquid in the pan. You want it to be pretty dry as you're cooking it. So I'm not even using my water here. Usually I cook with water or veggie broth. So we're just going to stir this while the jackfruit just warms up, and it's getting a bit brown by the stuff on the pan, which is awesome. That's going to give us a depth of flavor there. So we're going to cook that up and let it get warm, which shouldn't take us long. But again, this is all going to cook. You know what? I didn't even tell you what we're making. What is going wrong? So we are making a jackfruit chicken pot pie or vegan chicken pot pie. So to back that all up, that's where all this stuff in the pan is going, in a pot pie. So we're cooking these vegetables and the jackfruit down. We're going to make a delicious sauce, and we even have some dough and stuff going. So totally forgot. I'm so sorry. Let's go back down here. So once we're back down here, and that jackfruit is a little bit warm, so we've got our veggies all softened up, and our jackfruit is warm. Now we're going to add our spices. So in here, in the bad lighting, we have, there's dried thyme, rosemary, and parsley. So we're going to add that in. And just stir that around just to get it mixed just enough. Ooh, it smells so good. Oh, I love that. Like, it's fresh, dried herbs, I think, that my dad gave me. They're so amazing. I have to get some more. So now we have our veggies and our flavoring, but we need to make a sauce. So in order to make the sauce nice and thick for this pot pie, we're going to need, well, you can't see it very well, but there's flour under here, 1/4 cup of flour. And there's salt and pepper and a little bit of nutritional yeast, because you always got to put that in. So we're going to sprinkle that over. And we're going to distribute that. So that this is going to dry up anything. But if your pan is too wet, if you have too much liquid in, when you do this, your flour is going to get like doughy, because it's going to get stuck on all that moisture that's in there. So you want it to be as dry as you possibly can. You can always stir it out after, but it's just easier. And then now we have to add our liquid. So I have sort of 1 cup or 1 mug of veggie broth. And that's where it's really going to deglaze all that nice browning from the bottom of the pan. And hopefully in my batch, it doesn't actually taste burnt, just nice and brown. And then we also need a little bit more liquid. And I usually am going to use like an unflavored plant milk. But actually all I have left is the barista blend of the plant milk. So I'm going to put, you know, maybe about 1/4 cup of that in here, because it's going to be super thick. And then another 1/4 cup of water. So we're going to add that in. And this is going to get super, super thick because of the flour. But you can see, I can see, I hope you guys can see, that the sauce is not clumpy. So that's because when we put the flour in, it was dry as possible. That's going to help avoid the clumps. I have had recipes where I put flour in to thicken it, and it's super clumpy and disgusting. Don't do that. So we're gonna turn this way down and let it thicken up. And I'm just gonna actually do a quick taste test. See if you can taste the burning stuff. Here we go. Nope, we're good. This is so good. I haven't tried this yet. I made a test batch and I didn't try it. And I just tried it now and it's so delicious. So this is our insides, right? So we're gonna let's take that off the heat, because that is super thick. That's what you're looking for. And now we're going to make let's try this, our dough. Oh, I'm forgetting everything today. Today's been a crazy day. We're also gonna add some frozen peas at the end. You don't have to, but I like to have the green in there. And because we're gonna cook this in the oven, it doesn't matter that they're frozen right now. They'll definitely warm up super fast. But you can put peas in here. You could do edamame. I was gonna put some frozen butternut squash. You can put potatoes. You can kind of put whatever you want, but you want to start with that base of the celery, carrot, and onion, the mirepoix. So look at that. Super thick. Delicious. Okay. Now we're going to go back here. I'm going to show you a cool trick with your dough. So I made this biscuit dough from an online recipe earlier today. I thought it was going to be crazy. I'm actually kind of scared of making dough. This took like 5 minutes. I don't even think 5 minutes. So this is a mixture of flour, baking powder, salt, and vegan butter. Look at that. Pro dough. So the trick when you're rolling dough, if you want to make it easy, is use parchment paper. So you're going to get a big piece, and you can probably reuse it for a lot of stuff. You're going to fold it in half. And then what you want to do is get your dough in there. And I always have my pie plate handy so I can kind of eyeball if it's big enough. So this type of pie, to make it easy and to make sure that your pie doesn't get mushy, we're not going to do a bottom crust. We're just going to do a top crust. So that way you don't have to pre-bake it. You don't have to worry about the sauce being too hot and like melting your dough. We're just going to put the dough on top. So there we have our sort of biscuity dough in the middle of there. And we're going to put our parchment paper over top. And you can if you feel like it, you can probably just press that out like with your hand. But if you need to, you can roll it, and you don't have to worry about putting a whole bunch of flour on your rolling pin. That's what that's called. So we're gonna roll it out. It's gonna be pretty thick. And then I just kind of do this and see if the pan fits over top. And it does, so we're done with that. So we only need our rolling pin a little bit. Then we are gonna put a bit of oil in this just in case. We're only gonna cook it at 350, so it's not a big deal. So you just wanna give it a little spritz. And then, this is the exciting part, we're gonna put our filling in. Whoa. Yeah, really horrible cooking demo, brown pan at the bottom. Don't judge me. But that's what happens sometimes when you're cooking. Even when you're cooking with kids and they're running around, you're gonna get it brown when you can. But I didn't taste any burnt flavor, so we're good to go. There we have our filling. And now we're gonna, since we have this already in our parchment paper, we'll be able to just peel it off. And you can kind of just throw it on and peel the parchment paper off. So it's very clean for you. And now we have our little pie crust in here. And then if you want to give it a nice crust, we're going to just use a little bit of our oat milk that we have, just a tiny bit. And we're going to spread some over top. If you have, melted vegan butter would be good too, but we're going to use our oat milk because I want to use it up. But this barista blend is not sweetened, and it's not doesn't have vanilla in it. So all we had in the fridge was vanilla. I can't do that. So we've got that, and it's so exciting. Look how cool it looks. Fantastic. So then this is going to go in a 350 oven for about 20 minutes. I think when I did my test batch, it ended up being more like 25, but you can just let it go until it gets brown. So that is that. And then we're going to have some TV magic. Ba-ba-da-ba. Whoa, look at that. So it's all brown and delicious, and you can see on the sides it was all bubbling out. So really awesome. And you've got this really cool soft biscuity dough. So it's gonna be really delicious to eat because you're gonna have all the sauce underneath soaked up by the biscuit that you have on top. So again, my favorite part is the taste test. Let's see how this goes. I already had to taste the dough on the side. Don't look over there. So we're just gonna cut that. I'm gonna take this is my dinner. I'm gonna take lots. So you just need to cut through the dough, and then you're gonna scoop out the inside. So let's see how messy this gets. It might not be one that you can plate up really nicely, but ooh, look at that thick sauce underneath. So that thickened up as we cooked it in the oven, and you can see the delicious pieces of jackfruit inside. Look at delicious. See if we can get a focus. Look at that. Oh, you can see it steaming still in the crispy dough. So I am super happy with this one. I kind of got some inspiration online. The dough is from one recipe, which I'll link below. And then the filling, I kind of looked at a bunch of different recipes to get the ratio of like veggies and liquid that you need. And I kind of just threw everything in and kind of made it up. But it turned out to be a really nice thick sauce. And again, you could mix up the vegetables in there. You could put some broccoli and beef pieces. You could do only veggies and no jackfruit. There's lots of different combinations. So let's see. I think it does smell, I smell the dough, and it's a very biscuity dough, but there's butter in it. So I can smell that, and I can smell the herbs and spices. So let's look at it. I'm so excited. So the dough is nice and flaky because of the butter. Ooh. Okay. Oh my goodness. It's so good. So the underside is just so savory. Probably the nutritional yeast really helps with that. And that dough is ridiculous. I have to bookmark that recipe. I will definitely link it below because I think you could do anything with this dough. Desserts, you could make dumplings for stew. Look at this. You could put some like sort of sauce on top. Sometimes I eat it with ketchup. Don't judge me for that either. Or some sort of like A1 sauce or whichever one is out there that's vegan. So I found a new recipe. Totally gonna make this a lot. And I'll definitely try different ingredients for sure to have a pot pie. Or maybe even use it for like a traditional Canadian tortilla. I can make a vegan version of that with this dough. So good. Definitely try it. Thank you for joining me, Plant Life people. Every week you're here, and it makes me feel so good to see you. You participate in the chats, you like my videos, you share my stuff. I really appreciate it. So you can find me on Instagram and Facebook, and you're already here on YouTube, The Plant Life Canada. And if you have some time, please stick around and watch another video on YouTube, because that will show YouTube that you like my channel and you came to hang out on YouTube. Please try to watch one of my videos, but if it's some other video, that's fine too. So that's it. Another super easy, cheap, mostly fast, not burnt recipe. You got to try it. Bye, everybody.